Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we got a post from from CNN. This is titled "White South Africans Granted Refugee Status by Trump Administration." This was posted 19 hours ago from me recording this right now. And we're going to go ahead and get into it. So with that being said, we're smoking all my dragons, divine, righteous, almighty, greats, overachieving, never slacking. I'm back with my Hey Arnold shirt. I like to rep the childhood over here. But we're going to go ahead and get into this and really see why people been talking. Here we go.
You may recall that on the day he was sworn in, President Trump signed an executive order, effectively stopping any refugees from being allowed to come and resettle in the United States. Now, there's an act passed by Congress called the Refugee Act, which allows for as many as 125,000 refugees in this fiscal year, people who can prove they're being persecuted or fear persecution because of race or religion or political beliefs. And nowhere near that number has been allowed in by the time Mr. Trump took office and shut it all down. But just a few weeks later, President Trump announced that he was making an exception, and not only that, he would expedite the processing of refugee claims by one group of people from Africa. Now, you might think it's some women and children who've been maybe sexually assaulted in the conflict.
Let's stop right there. Ain't Elon Musk from South Africa? So that was probably part of, I don't know what deal they got or what's going on with their partnership, but friends look out for friends. Am I lying? Friends, look out for friends. Business partners, look out for business partners. Associates, look out for associates. So, personally, am I surprised? Of course not.
In the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, a place that's seen fighting for decades. On this program, we reported on the violence, the plight of people there in a series of programs in 2006.
What has gone on here is simply extraordinary. Over the last 10 years here, there has been major fighting between a number of different groups. It has been the deadliest war in our lifetime, the deadliest war since World War II. Some 3 to 4 million people have died in this country, and their deaths have virtually gone unnoticed.
This is the pink salt recipe that took me from 179.
Man, this world is just... Before we even continue, man, this world is just a lot. Seriously, like, even some of the comments I get, be like, people are just ignorant or full of hate. I'm surprised there isn't a full-out, like, just war already, like, just full-out. I mean, there's different wars going on, but I mean, like, as far as the U.S., like, I'm surprised it didn't just break out into chaos already, because there'd be so much hate on here, I ain't even gonna lie. Definitely gets draining.
World War II, some 3 to 4 million people have died in this country, and their deaths have virtually gone unnoticed.
And there's a whole new round of fighting that's been going on in eastern Congo between the government and an armed group called M23. Thousands have died, hundreds of thousands displaced, and widespread reports of sexual violence against women. But President Trump hasn't allowed refugees from there here, nor from Sudan, where there's been terrible fighting. The only Africans President Trump has paved a quick path for are these South Africans. And yes, they are white. They are Afrikaners, descendants of Dutch settlers to South Africa. This is the first group of people granted refugee status to enter the U.S. since the...
That's what they call them, Afrikaners? I didn't know that. Afrikaners. Okay. I didn't know it. You learn something new every day. I didn't know that if you were a white South African, you were called an Afrikaner.
To South Africa. This is the first group of people granted refugee status to enter the U.S. since the president entered his second term. On February 7th, President Trump signed this executive order carving out an exception for the Afrikaners, the white minority who created the racist apartheid regime in South Africa and ruled there cruelly and brutally until 1994. When black South Africans, the overwhelming majority of South Africans, were allowed to vote for the first time, and they voted for that man, Nelson Mandela. Afrikaners took land from black people in South Africa, repressed them, and in the 3 decades since the end of apartheid, they still have all the land they took. Black South Africans, who make up over 80% of the population, still only own around 4% of private land. Now, President Trump was asked why these Afrikaners were allowed to enter the U.S.
Why are you creating an expedited path into the country for Afrikaners but not others?
Because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. It's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about. but it's a terrible thing that's taking place. And
The reason I'm laughing because it's like Elon Musk is like a billionaire who has all this money. If they're being killed by over there, can't he just put a stop to it? I mean, or do something like. I guess this. I don't know. I'm just saying. Like I seen who is it? Mr. Beast went to Africa and like built all this stuff for villages over there. I don't. Can't Elon just put a stop to it? Can't he just? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I just know for a fact if this were like Haitians or maybe some Brazilians with a darker complexion, a lot of people would be tripping a lot more. Like for sure, yeah. Immigrants, they're not from here, and we've seen it happen over and over again. I can't say I'm lying. I mean, so it's like, I know there is MAGA folks that don't like this though. I know they out there. I know they're out there. Maybe I'll look it up, but it's just I've seen people go so hard, over dark-skinned Africans, like so hard, like get them out of here, and that is just my whole thing. My whole thing is just keep the same energy for everybody. Like that's all. That's all. Keep the same energy.
farmers are being killed. They happen to be white. But whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, does.
Wouldn't it just be karma at that point if, they went over there and took land? And, wouldn't it just... At the end of the day, all I know, listen, all I know is Trump was always about America and America first. Right? That was his whole thing in the campaign. That's why people loved him. That's why it's all about America. America being the best. We worried about America. It was about getting immigrants out, getting people out, and worry about America. Now all of a sudden we worried about. I'm gonna leave it there.
Doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height.
It's people getting killed all over the place. That's getting violated. That's not that, and it's not spoken about.
Their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation taking place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people to escape from that violence and come here.
The idea that there's a genocide of white farmers going on in South Africa is just not true. It's absurd. And that's been debunked by a number of organizations, both inside and outside of South Africa. But it's become a rallying cry for the some right-wing elements inside the country, and has echoed all the way to America. Let me just go back to Sudan for a moment. An actual genocide has happened there, according to the U.S., as two warring factions battled for control of that country earlier this year. The U.S. accused one side, the RSF, of committing genocide. More than 11 million people have been internally displaced, while millions more have fled the country. That's according to the UN. They aren't allowed to be refugees here. And on top of this, the Afghans who worked alongside U.S. troops during the war as interpreters and guides and fixers, Afghans who fought for the United States, helped save American lives, and were allowed here under a temporary protected status. Well, now we learn that status is not going to be renewed next week, according to the Department of Homeland Security, which means many who helped save U.S. lives may be deported starting in July. Joining us now is New York Times columnist Nicholas Kristof. Nick, you say this whole situation upside down. The idea that there's a genocide of white farmers. Why do you think the Trump administration is doing this?
If your neck looks like this, you need to watch this video. When you sit at your...
I ain't gonna lie, this is wild. Like, see, I was all for, deporting criminals, people who are, causing mayhem in the community, that aren't from here. Obviously I wouldn't, people that are from here. I wasn't even against Trump saying, the people that are committing violence here, getting sent somewhere else. I wasn't even against that. You know what I'm saying? If you got a crazy criminal record and you just don't, and you will harm to your own community, then hey, let them do what they want with you. If you don't want to listen here and you want to harm people here, I wasn't against that at all. I wasn't against none of that. I'm not feeling this. I'm just gonna straight up be honest. I'm not. This isn't. It just seems like hypocrisy. Uh, like seriously, this is the move. Seems like Trump's doing somebody a favor. It seems like who are these people? These South African farmers that are. We got farmers here that need help. We got so many farmers here who have been done wrong that could use help. A lot of help. Well, somebody make it make sense. Somebody make it make sense.
Turned refugee policy
Side of white farmers. I mean, why do you think the Trump administration is doing this?
Well, I mean, he's completely turned refugee policy upside down in ways that reflect racial discrimination. I mean, he's not, the Afrikaner farmers are not suffering from that. It is true that some have been murdered, but black farmers have been murdered at even higher rates. And,
right, there's a huge crime rate.
Crime
rate in South Africa. Crime is a huge problem. But according to organizations there's been no forcible taking back of confiscation of land at this point.
So to my Americans, am I going to walk outside now? And am I going to start seeing flags everywhere? I support South Africa. Is that going to be the new thing all summer? Is that going to be, am I going to start seeing South African flags everywhere around here now?
Not at all. And, it is true that there was legislation passed in January that theoretically creates an opportunity to confiscate some land without compensation. That has not been implemented. Nobody has had their land taken away. And, these Afrikaners are among the most privileged people on the entire continent. They are they are assets, or the white South Africans have assets 20 times greater than those of black South Africans on average. And, you just mentioned Sudan, the world's probably worst humanitarian crisis right now. In Sudan, I've seen a man who had his eyes gouged out as a reflection of that genocide with a bayonet. In Congo, which you also mentioned, I saw children who were gang raped because of their ethnicity. That is the world's worst mass atrocity since World War II.
This a man who's saying he's seen it, so.
In Myanmar, I talked to a Rohingya mom who had her baby pulled from her arms and thrown into a bonfire. That is plausibly a genocide. But none of those people have any right to be accepted to come to the U.S. as refugees. And instead, we bring in, a group of people who don't remotely qualify as refugees. But what distinguishes them is that they are white. And as the son of a refugee, I just find this makes a mockery of the entire principle of refugee status.
Also, the U.S. actually cut off its economic assistance to South Africa over this as well. So it's not just not letting black South Africans in or other people from other parts of the continent. There's now a cutoff of aid for HIV medication. I think South Africa gets about 17% of their of the money that they use for HIV treatment in South Africa comes from the U.S.
And that, as you know, has happened across the continent, that there are kids dying right now across the African continent because they can't get emergency food aid, which costs maybe $70 to save a child's life, because they can't get AIDS medication, which costs 12 cents a day. We can't afford that, but we were willing, America was, to provide a plane to bring 49 Afrikaners, white privileged Afrikaners, to the United States and give them expedited refugee status, when meanwhile there are 12,000 other people who have already been approved and gone through a multi-year screening and have flights booked. In some cases, these are these Afghans who saved the lives of American troops, and now they're held off, and we're not admitting them.
I'm not rocking with a lot of this AI stuff.
This is wild, but we're on the listen. The U.S. as it is on the brink of its own little civil war going on, and here we go. You know what I'm saying? It's like what's up? Just what's going on here? So the other day, one of my clients, she was talking about her nephews in Mexico. They go to Mexico a lot on vacation. She's like, they better stop going there because of skin cancer, and I don't want them. I don't know much about that. She started talking to me about it, like, yeah, I had skin cancer, and da, da, da. So I started thinking about places that are like really hot, where a lot of people that are so-called white live. South Africa is one of those. Right here it says around 700 deaths from skin cancer. Jeez, that was a year, and yeah. So I don't know. Maybe Trump is helping them from the sun. I don't know. I don't know. Is that what it is? Like what's really going on? What's really going on? So don't make sense to me. I'm not gonna sit here and bite my tongue for anybody. We already got our own stuff going on over here. Our own division every 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds, it's chaos out here already, and then this is what's going on. So I don't got nothing against anyone or anything like that, but it's just like the hypocrisy is right in our face. I mean, I don't know what else to say there. I guess people are comment and attack me for having that's what ignorant people do. They'll comment and attack me instead, as if I'm everything that's wrong, right? Like that's where we're at in the world right now. But with that being said, I'll talk to you guys later. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and much love to you all.